Hello and welcome to another edition of the Silver Bulletin. We have with us our sports editors Colin Haas-Hill and Edward Sutland. The Buckeyes won at a score of 54-21 today. Colin, can I go ahead and get your initial thoughts of this game? It was pretty much a blowout, but what does this mean to you?
What does this mean? It means that Ohio State did what they had to do. There aren't a ton of takeaways that you can have from this game, to be honest. I think that the defensive line was awesome. JT played well. The entire offense honestly played as well as they could have. But beyond this game, I mean, takeaways-wise, I don't know. Do you have some? Because honestly, like, some people played well, but they were all expected to. There weren't many surprises. The only thing that I can take away is there were a lot of young people that got their first opportunities in front of thousands of people.
CJ Saunders, I believe Barry, the tight end, got a couple chances to get the ball. Other than that, though, there wasn't really. They spread the ball around, but again, this is a defense in UNLV that let up 40-something points to Howard.
Yeah, and I mean, Ohio State I know Ed's going to have a behind the numbers piece, and five of Barrett's 12 completions were touchdowns. That pretty much tells you all you need to know about the game. Everything went well for them. There are things they need to still work on, and they have Rutgers next week, Maryland the week after, and a bye week the week after that. So they have time.
Yeah. And Ed, he did say JT only had 12 completions today. That was because Dwayne Haskins did get an expanded role in today's game, coming in the first half, the later part of the first half. What did you see from him?
Yeah, I mean, Dwayne looked about as advertised. You know, he showed off the strong arm, came in almost right away through a very nice deep pass. Yeah. I believe it was to Austin Mack, although I could be wrong on that. But he looked effective for the most part. He quickly marched the Buckeyes down the field, threw a touchdown pass to CJ Saunders in the end zone. There were times when he looked inaccurate. He looked sort of resemblant of Cardale Jones would, back in 2015, when he would often overthrow receivers. Showing off that big arm often does have its consequences. He threw an interception that wasn't a great read by him, and there were a lot of times when he threw a pass, and I would just ask Colin, I don't even know who he was throwing that to because it was so poorly overthrown. But he looked solid overall, I thought. Yeah.
Now you talked about the change of pace with his arm speed in comparison to JT. Could this offense benefit in any way from having that stronger arm in there at quarterback?
It's tough to tell whether or not the offense would benefit from having that different style of quarterback. The only thing that I think is that Ohio State's attempted a lot of deep ball passes this year, and Barrett's been inaccurate on some of them, sure, but the receivers have also dropped a fair amount. I don't know that this receiving core is necessarily built quite for a deep ball style offense. I think that in this instance, we sort of saw today that Barrett's style of play works well. These short passes where he gives his receivers a lot of space to run, a lot of run pass options and bubble screens. These receivers are fast, and they're able to make catches and make things happen, but so far they haven't proven that they can catch a deep pass that Dwayne Haskins would be able to provide them.
Yeah. This defensive line of Ohio State, week in and week out, shows up, regardless of what the other 7 guys do behind them. Is this the type of pace that you can see them keeping up for the rest of the season?
I mean, honestly, I didn't think that they played to their expected level against Oklahoma. I think that we need. This is what Urban said after the game. He said this about JT and the offense. He said that this game was great for Ohio State, but they need to show it against someone that it actually matters with. And to me, that's the same thing with the defensive line. That's the same thing with every other part of the game. That's why, to me, only real takeaway is that there were young guys that got their first shot, and some played well, some struggled. But I mean, can I take much away from the defensive line playing well against UNLV? No, they did what they were expected to do. I thought the only main takeaway you can have on the starting defense is that the defensive backfield, specifically the cornerbacks, were less than
a lot of penalties today.
Yeah, and I mean, Urban Meyer said in the post game, I think he used like 3 words. That was awful. Yeah. About specifically Sheffield's pass interferences.
Well, thank you guys for joining us again, and also thank you guys. We'll see you again next week. Be sure to look up for our Silver Bulletin on Monday.